everyone, and welcome to the 5th pandemic survival guide for residential contractors. I can't believe it's already been 5 weeks now that we've been going through this. So
it seems like 5 years,
right? It does. It is just crazy. I heard this joke this week that it's no longer the days of the week. It's yesterday, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the next day. Yeah. So, all right.
Never a dull moment. Look, that's the construction byline. Never a dull moment.
Right.
If you had a bad day yesterday, don't worry about it. Today will be different.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
We're getting some back feedback.
Yeah, there's somebody talking in the background.
Everyone. Let's see. Okay, I think we've muted everyone.
Okay.
All right. So, okay, sorry about that, folks. All right, well, let's get started here. Let's just start with a quick introduction. My name is Ed Earl, and I run a construction project management company in San Diego. I work as an owner's rep, which means that I am hired by homeowners that are building custom homes or high-end remodels. I serve to help them through that process. I'm also a coach with these two gentlemen, and I also have an MBA from Stanford. So got a little bit of a business background as well.
I'm Paul Sandeman. My master's from Cal Poly, not quite as much as Stanford, but it works. And I've been doing this for 35 years, makes me an old guy. And I've pretty much seen everything except this. It's interesting. I mean, do you remember life before the pandemic? It's like, I almost can't remember. And that was only like a month ago. It's very interesting how time changes. So anyhow, it's a very exciting time. I've never done this before, but I'm looking forward to making the right kind of changes.
All right, I'm David Loopberger, and my graduate degree is from the School of Hard Knocks. I spent a little bit more time in school, and guess what? It's still going on. Still learning, and as Paul just said, this is a unique time. Never been through anything quite like this. But I like to say when one door closes, one or two more doors open. So we're going to really focus today on the funding and next steps. So Ed, let me give it right back to you.
Great, David. Thank you for that. Yes, we've got a very narrow window here that we are going to talk about. We've kind of changed our plans for what we were going to talk about today based on what's occurred here in just the last couple of days. So just as a quick reminder, our webinar here is to give you the latest and greatest information. We're going to try to keep this to 30 minutes. And so let's start with the big news, which is as of just an hour and a half ago, Trump has now signed into law a $484 billion bill that replenishes the PPP program. So of that $484 billion, 320 of it is for the Paycheck Protection Program. I'm sure you've probably heard there's been a lot of complaints because the initial $350 billion that was put into the Paycheck Protection Program lasted less than 2 weeks. And it all ran out last week. And so this new bill is here to replenish that. That's the good news. The bad news is the last sentence from this article that just came out this morning. The more than $300 billion set aside this week to replenish the PPP is likely already spoken for, banking industries say. So if you haven't yet gotten in your application for PPP, you need to do it today. And that's going to be our goal here, is to help you. So let me start with this. I want to ask a show of hands here. If you have received money in your bank from the PPP program, please raise your hand. So we're up over 100 attendees, and I'm curious to see how many of those have actually gotten it. I would raise my hand. I just got my funding this morning. My wife just called me this morning and said, oh, the money's in our account. It just showed up overnight. So anyway, that's very exciting. I'm seeing the hands go up right now. Well, I'll let David do our count. Let me just continue on here with some more good news. So this is the chart we put up every week to show which states are allowing construction and which aren't. The really good news is that nothing has changed in over 2 weeks. So that's, I guess, also could be seen as bad news too, right? That nothing has changed. But I'm hoping very soon that those 5 red states that are The 5 states where construction is not allowed are going to change. The 3 of us just got off a call with a client in Pennsylvania, and they informed us that they do have a date here in early May when that's going to get lifted. So along those same lines, there was a interesting report that came out recently that the researchers have identified 4 states that may be able to open in early May. And those 4 states are Vermont, West Virginia, Montana, and Hawaii. So that's the good news. But in this same report, the researchers also identified that there are certain states that they think won't be able to open until late June or early July. And you want to guess which those states are? They're those gray states right here in the middle of the country, the same ones that currently have no statewide orders. So if you live in North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Utah, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, again, this is still somewhat conjecture, but according to these researchers, they're thinking that they may not be able to open up until late June or early July. So, David, how many people do we have that actually received the?
Wow, this is sobering. So about 100 attendees, and I only am counting 12 hands. So we're talking 12% of the people on this call have received money, which means 88% have either applied and not received, or they haven't applied. So not many people have gotten money yet.
All right, so I'm going to lower everyone's hands, and now we're going to ask our second question, which is raise your hand if you've either applied for the PPP program and you haven't yet been funded, or you haven't yet applied, but that you would like to. All right? So we're going to share with you a story from one of our clients yesterday. As you may know, if you've been on this before, Paul was with Chase and tried to get through on Chase. And well, Paul, why don't you just give us the update? You can do it better.
Well, the update is I was waiting for Chase to do something, and they didn't do anything. And I said I was in some kind of queue, but I never got any response. And I waited on the phone for an hour, and after an hour, I finally got somebody, and they said, "We have no idea what's going on. We'll let you know if anything happens." Incredibly frustrated. So then I had a client that said, "Hey, you know, I tried PayPal, and I got to sign the loan docs in the 2 days." And I went, "Are you kidding me?" So I immediately went to PayPal and said, you know, I applied, and I got loan docs 2 days later. And I could actually call a person and talk to them. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because PayPal is probably the best company in the world about online payments. That's what they do. They're the best. So they probably have the system down. My guess is, this is my estimation, and unless you have an application and you've got like loan docs already signed, you may not get funded. So if your bank is saying, "Oh, we'll let you know you're in queue," I wouldn't trust it. I would go ahead and apply, like we're going to tell you today with PayPal as a plan B. You can apply as many times as you want until you're funded. So, you know, have a good plan B, because I'm afraid a lot of people, they're going to be left out because this money is going to go in like days, because people like myself and others have already signed loan docs, ready to go. They just have to hit a button and submit 10,000 loans like in 5 minutes. So that's why we're here today, to show you how to do that. And Marcos, is Marcos here?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe you can look through the attendees and see if Marcos is here. Marcos is he's our case study. He's the guy. He was with Chase, and when we talked to him yesterday, he said, "Oh, I'm almost there, guys. Look at this email I just got from Chase. There's 5 stages to get funded, and I'm at stage 4. So this should happen like any day now." And we said, "It's not going to happen as fast as you think." We sent him over to PayPal. He emailed us back 45 minutes later. He had gone through the entire application process and had signed his loan docs. So we're going to walk through that. And if we can see Marcos, if he's there, we're going to invite him to join us. So let me back up a little bit and share with you. Yes, go ahead, David.
Well, I was just going to say 46 people are planning to attend or have, what was the question again? Because I got 46 hands that got raised.
So 46 have either applied for the loan and haven't been funded, or they haven't yet applied, but they would like to.
That's right, wow. We're talking like half.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then this is super, super relevant. So let me talk a little bit more also, because there's updates on the other funding programs as well. So the first one is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is now called the EIDL for short. If you recall, that was the one that had the $10,000 advance payment that seemed to be too good to be true. You basically just had to input your bank routing number and your bank account, and this money was going to show up. So good and bad news on that. The good news is that money did show up in my account actually last week. The bad news is they've changed the rules now, and that $10,000 advance has now been limited to $1,000 per employee. So the only way that you're going to get the full 10,000 is if you have 10 or more employees.
And
now, in
and also,
it
will be deducted from your other thing too, right, Ed?
Yeah. Okay. By the way, Marcos just texted me that he is on a webinar. So Marcos, stay tuned. We're going to bring you on here in a minute. Now, in addition to that $10,000 advance, there's a more money, but it yet hasn't come through. So we don't know exactly how that's going to work. The Paycheck Protection Program, as we said, the first round of the $349 billion started on April 3rd and ran out on April 16th. And I'm going to show you in a minute why and how that happened. Today, Trump signed, as we said, the $320 billion. The good news is that they saw what happened last time, and they've earmarked 20% of those funds has been set aside for smaller lenders. Okay, the next one is the direct payments to workers and families. That's the $1,200 per person and $500 per adult. That money has been received. My son got his. Here's the key. You had to have filed your taxes with direct deposit. And if you did, then you should have gotten your money. However, if you closed your bank account or changed accounts since you filed your 2018 or 2019 taxes, that money may have got sent to the wrong account. I just was reading an article about that this morning. If you're not sure or you did file direct deposit and you haven't yet received your money, that website there, it's called Get My Payment, and you go to irs.gov/coronavirus/Get My Payment, or you can just go into Google and just Google IRS Get My Payment. You can go in and enter your information and track your payment and be able to see where your payment is. But if you filed your returns with direct deposit, that money should be in your account. If it's not, then go to Get to My Payment and track it and see where it is. And then the fourth area for the CARES Act was this unemployment benefits. That money has also started to become available. I've had some friends, unfortunately, that have been laid off, and they've accessed that. My niece tried to access it, but the problem was that she didn't make enough to qualify for that extra $600 a week. So that's the key, is everyone isn't just getting that $600 a week. You actually have to make enough, have earned enough to be able to qualify for that. All right, so let me talk a little bit more about the Paycheck Protection Program and what happened here. $349 billion got claimed in 2 weeks. 1.6 million small businesses received the loans, which sounds like a really great number, but the fact is that that's only 6% of America's small businesses. The average loan size was $240,000. And we know people that, companies that literally receive tens of millions of dollars. The good news is that I read this morning an article that construction firms received about $45 billion. So as an industry, we seem to be much more on top of this than many people are. But the problem was the banks. The community banks gave priority to their existing clients, and big banks targeted segments of their customers. You can see this is one of several articles that's come out this week about all of the lawsuits that have happened as a result of that. Here's what happened with the PPP timeline. You know, April 3rd is when the SBA opened up applications for the PPP loans, and they started dispersing funds on April 10th. But it wasn't until the 12th that they started letting online lenders, such as PayPal, access to accept applications. So PayPal was the first, but they didn't have the ability to do that until April 12th, 9 days after the program was started. And so what happened was 4 days later, by April 16th, the money was out. But now the online lenders like PayPal, Square, Intuit is actually doing it through QuickBooks Online. Lendio is another source. All of those now are available. And you can try any of those, but we're telling you that our experience is that PayPal is the best way to go. So this is how you get in to apply for the loan with PayPal. And let's see, David, maybe if you could find Marcos Santa Ana, we can unmute him.
All right, I'll keep looking.
So
I hadn't seen him so far,
okay.
so I'm continuing to look.
Okay. So in PayPal, what you do is just log on to PayPal, and then you'll see this where it says the SBA Paycheck Protection Program. And down at the bottom, it says Learn More. So you want to click on that, and then once you do that, then you're going to get to this page where it says PayPal is accepting loan applications for the Paycheck Protection Program. And then you want to click on that button right there that says Apply Now. That then will take you to this, which is the basic eligibility information. This is the screen that you need to fill out before you can actually go through the application. Now, it's a bunch of questions that I'm hoping most all of you are going to pass, which are things like that you've never been convicted of a felony, that you've never declared bankruptcy, that you've never defaulted on an SBA loan. And then the very last question is the important one. It says, has the applicant been approved for another PPP loan? So unless you have signed loan documents and an SBA loan number, right? Now, Paul has a signed loan document, but he doesn't have an SBA loan number. So go and check your loan documents for those of you that have them. If it doesn't have an SBA loan number on there, you have not been approved. And you should check no to this box because you have not been approved. And that will then allow you to apply again through PayPal. Okay.
And there's a question, a real quick question on that.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And I still can't find Marcos. Look for him. I can't.
Okay.
I'll find him.
Go ahead and read
but I think
question.
it was Ned saying if you apply for more than one person, your loan can be denied, or if you apply for more than one through more than one provider. What was the distinction you just mentioned, Ed? Which was until you have a loan approval number.
No, not true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the distinction.
Right.
Once you have a loan approval number, stop. But otherwise, you could apply through more than one lender, pending getting that approval number.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just looking to see if I can find Marcos here. I wish these were in alphabetical order.
My guess is they're in alphabetical order by first name, but the problem is Marcos may be registered under another first name. That's why he's showing up.
You know what? Marcos, Marcos, if you can raise your hand, I've lowered everyone's hands now. If Marcos raises his hand, we should be able to find him.
There he is.
Marcos
Santa Ana, I see it.
Got him. All right. Did I get him? Now he's disappeared.
Hey, gentlemen.
He's there.
All right.
There he is.
Hi, Marcos.
Good.
How you doing?
All right, Marcos. Share with us your process here.
Yeah, so I applied, as you mentioned, I applied with Chase right as the portal opened. And then I got an email saying I was in stage 2. Then I got an email saying I was in stage 3 with Chase, but nothing since then. So it's been like a couple weeks. So yeah, yesterday I applied to the PayPal system. And literally within 2 hours, I got the loan docs and I signed them right away. So that was pretty incredible. And so I have two companies, an architecture company and a construction company. So the architecture company, I got loan docs within 2 hours last night. And then the construction company, I got this morning at like 7:30 in the morning. So, it took overnight. So yeah, so that's exciting because Chase, I never had a chance to actually see the loan docs through Chase.
Right.
So hopefully,
so Marcus, can you walk us through this process? Because you just went through it. These are some screenshots that you had sent me yesterday. So once you hit this and you hit the continue, then you get to this screen, right? Which says, thank you for submitting your request.
Exactly. Yeah, then when you continue the portal.
And then you get to this page, is that right?
Exactly. So let's see, the first one, so beneficial owner information, that is pretty self-explanatory. Ownership and affiliations. Since I own 2 companies, I had to just submit a document. I submitted a Word doc that said I own 2 companies. Simple Word doc. Payroll verification. I use Gusto for payroll, so they actually have forms kind of pre-set up for COVID-19 loans. So I had that documentation ready. If you
have paychecks, there's a bunch of, if you have an online payroll service, it's a lot easier, but
ADP.
You don't, ADP, I got it from my accountant, and it's just, 1 quarter's worth of payroll, and you have to upload those, but you should be able to obtain them. You should, from your accountant or your payroll company or somebody.
That's right.
Then Marcos?
So, yeah.
And that's like the 940, not 940, 941, all of those, that's all your payroll.
Yeah. Yeah, my online payroll company, they just said, okay, did you actually, one caveat is with the PayPal, they actually give you, there's a Word doc, there's an Excel sheet that you have to download, and it gives you 4 options. So basically saying, are you a seasonal business? If you're not a seasonal business, do you want to take January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2020? Or do you want to do kind of like a rolling clock, which is, I think it was like March from 2019 to March of 2020. So you have to kind of select which one you'd like to do. So you fill out the Excel sheet that PayPal provides, and you can upload the Excel sheet. And then page 2 of the PayPal Excel sheet basically tells you whether, depending on what structure you have for your business, S Corp, LLC, etc., it tells you which tax forms you need. So, but most of them are pretty standard, like the 941, the 940. And then if you did your taxes or not, it tells you what to send. If you did your taxes already, you can send in your 1120. If you haven't done your taxes, then you actually just send in your bank statements. So, yeah, so it was pretty self-explanatory. The first time when I went through it, I waited too long, so the website froze. So I just had to re-upload it and re-log in. So, yeah. But once I had all the docs, it was very quick. And then let's see what else. Payroll verification. And then it was strange. Only my S Corp asked for the bank account information, the actual bank statement. My C Corp, they didn't even ask for that. So.
Interesting. Also, I want to point out here at the top, I don't know if you can read this with it. I have that little red arrow. This is their disclaimer. They said, the Paycheck Protection Program through PayPal update, we plan to continue processing applications, but we won't be able to approve or fund any pending applications while we await word from the U.S. government on additional program funding. Now, this was your screenshot last night, Marcos. Hopefully, now as of today, hopefully they've taken that off and they're actually submitting it.
Yeah. So one of my questions would be, if I'm in stage 3 with Chase and I never had loan docs and I'm already have PayPal loan docs signed, which one it would be first of the line is the question,
The question would be, you don't have to worry about them taking loan docs and Chase, and I think the money can be gone before they show up. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I also feel that they're all stages, but if you don't have loan docs already signed, I would do the PayPal thing, because I believe, and yes, it's just a hunch on my part, that if you already have the loan docs signed, they're going to go quicker than your bank calling back and say, oh, now sign the loan docs. That's another stage that you're going to have to wait for.
Well, that's it. The online service providers, I mean, this is what they do. So as you just said, Paul, they just do it very efficiently.
Right. So, and then Marcos, is this then is the 45 minutes after starting your application, this is what you got.
Yeah, well, it took me about 45 minutes to start the application, but within 2 hours, they sent me a DocuSign. So then I completed the DocuSign on my phone, and that's it. Yeah. So this was just a notification.
Right.
Which, of course, it's like night and day. With Chase, I've actually been speaking with my Chase banker. He's been really responsive, but he's sort of in the dark. He can't really tell me anything about where I stand. He just, all he says is, as long as you have a number, you're kind of waiting online. You're in queue.
Right. Wow. Jeez. Okay.
That's great news, Marco.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for
heard it.
pushing me that.
Yeah. You're very
Otherwise,
welcome.
I'd be waiting for Chase as of this moment.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions for Marcos, since we're, we got a little time here? They can maybe.
Well, and I do have a special guest that's joined us. So can we transition over to our guest? So a very good friend of mine has joined us today. Is the current president of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, Robbie Kursick. Robbie, welcome. I've gone ahead and I'm trying to unmute. Make sure you're not muted on your side, Robbie. I'm hitting your unmute button, but I'm not having any success. Oh, there it is. Robbie, are you there? Unmute, my friend. Oh, there you go. Are you there? Oh, gosh. Technology is so great when it works.
All right. You know what? Let's keep working on that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to just do one other slide. And Robbie, please, as soon as you get your microphone on, let us know. Paul commented to me as soon as he filled out all of his loan docs on PayPal, his wife said, "Are you sure this loan's going to be forgiven? How do you know that?" So I just wanted to share with you the loan document that I have, and it specifically shows the loan forgiveness provisions. So this is, I just want to show you, for those of you that are doubting Thomas's or not sure that this loan truly is going to be forgiven, look for this clause in your loan documents where it specifically says that the borrower may apply for this forgiveness, and as long as it's used during this 8-week period for the following costs: payroll costs, 1, 2, any payments on a covered mortgage, 3, any payments on a covered rent obligation, and 4, any covered utility payments. Also notice that on my loan documents, I had to disclose whether I had received an EIDL advance or not. At that time, when I signed these loan documents last week, I hadn't received that money. So I asked my lender, I said, I've applied for it, but I haven't received it. He said, if you haven't received it, just put NA, because that means that you haven't yet received it. So
we're going to try again with Robbie if we can. Robbie, can you hear me?
Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh, Robbie, welcome, sir. How are you?
Oh, great. My apologies.
It's all good, pal. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you for the continuing support here and providing this amazing value for so many people. Thank you.
Oh, it's just timing is everything. And that's why we really are focusing on this. Money is for businesses, small businesses, and man, time is of the essence. Is there anything you'd add to that, Robbie?
Yeah. Well, I've been a part of this this group and logging in every week, and I want to thank all of you for providing this amazing value. And thank you for the kind introduction. So as you just mentioned, as president of NARI National, we're essentially trying to provide the best value for our members. Clearly, some of the providing the most current value for all 44 of our.
Oh, you're kind of going in and out, Robbie.
So
yeah, we might have lost.
Oh,
you back?
Okay. No, I'd like to make a comment here.
Please.
That I think it's important to know that this money is not distributed according to who needs it, what's fair, what's appropriate, has nothing to do with that. That only the people that are going to get it to figure out how to apply for it, who to use to apply for it, and how to get the money. So, there's companies that have gotten $50 million that, are huge companies because they know how to apply for it. So keep in mind, whether you need the money or not has nothing to do with it. Nothing. We had several companies funded that had a lot of cash and had nothing to do with it. So and also you need to do it right away, because I firmly believe those people that have signed loan documents are going to be ahead of those people that don't. And I think PayPal is probably a bit more efficient than your local bank at getting all that stuff in, because that's what they do. And they do all DocuSign stuff and everything else with DocuSign. So there's a real sense of urgency here. I feel that if you do not apply today, you may not get the money. So go whatever. That's who walked you through it. If you have any questions, you can call us later. But you've got to do this today. And hopefully, out of the 100 people that showed up today, we can, maybe 50 people have money that wouldn't get money any other way. So again, do not procrastinate on this, because then don't say, well, I'm not sure. I have to talk to my accountant. I have to talk to my bank. My accountant's not around, or maybe my banker's not available today and he doesn't know what's going on anyway. Forget all that. Just apply today to this. It's a good plan B. If you get it someplace else, great. But if you don't apply this way, you're never going to get it this way, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Paul. All right, well, we're about at our 30-minute time frame, so I just want to, again, as we end all of our webinars, end with a slide that we first presented on our first one 5 weeks ago, and just real quickly, because it's still as important and relevant today. And that's that: stay informed, but don't watch the news, right? Things are changing on a daily, if not a weekly basis. You need to be informed, just like this whole PPP program, and being able to know what the latest and up-to-date information is. But that doesn't mean binge watch on your favorite news channel, because all that does is create more anxiety. Also, connect with your peers. Continue to do what we're doing here today. Join our webinar. Join our group coaching on Wednesday. Reach out to people that are in your local building group, or your Remodelers Advantage group, or your Builder 20 group. Connect with your peers. Share this information. We're encouraging all of our clients to reach out to architects, to their subcontractors, anyone that you know. Share this loan information. The more people in our construction industry that can access these funds, the more that our business will be able to survive these challenges that are going to be ahead of us here in the months and the weeks ahead. Also, be optimistic about the long term. Look, no one really knows where we're going to be. One of my favorite quotes from Dr. Wayne Dyer is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist. And that's so true in this current situation. So be optimistic about the long term, but focus on the short-term solutions. Focus on what you can do today and what you can do next week. And what you can do today is get that PPP loan in with PayPal. Also, be selective in who you share your concerns with, right? There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety. I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I wake up many mornings feeling very anxious and have had my share of ups and downs. And I share that. I share that with the two gentlemen I'm on this call with, but I don't share it with other people that I know that it wouldn't be good. So realize that this too shall pass. We'll all get through this together. Again, as I mentioned before, we have a free weekly group coaching sessions. We do offer this every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon. We invite you all to join us. We cover some of the same information, but we give you the opportunity to contribute, to ask questions, and to do what I just said, which is to connect with your peers, to share and be really a peer support group.
Can I
we'll be back again next Friday? Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to ask a special exception here, Ed. For those that want to stay on, we've got 4 or 5 questions here that I would like to try to answer, because if people want to stay on, great. But let's see if we can address some of these questions. Can we?
Perfect.
Sure.
I think that's a great idea. Let me just invite, for any of you that need to go or want to go, these are our phone numbers and our email address. Please reach out to us. If you have any questions at all about the PPP loan program or anything else that we've covered, we are more than available and happy to help. So please feel free to pick up the phone or send out an email to any of us, and we would be happy to help. So, all right, yeah, let's go through the questions.
All right,
David.
First one from David. PayPal phone number center is closed. The recording states that all communication must be through the website. So,
and I might have a number that. Okay, what is the number I had? I think that's the number today. There's also.
I've got the number also. Yeah, you got it, Paul.
Okay. No, why don't you give it to him? This is the
right.
company that does PayPal's loans.
So this is to loanbuilder.com, and their phone number, 347-5626. They process the loans for PayPal. So David, give that a try. A question from Paul. When does the 8-week period, it says cover, I'm thinking, when does it begin? Can I rephrase it that way?
Right. And so it's the date that you are funded. 8 weeks from the date that you are funded.
So from the time you get the money, that's when the eight-week forgiveness period starts.
Right. And if you've laid a bunch of people off, as long as you hire them back or hire the equivalent of them back, then you're good. But when you get the funding, your payroll has to be 75% of what it was when you asked for the funding. So make sure that you hire back all the people you laid off or hire new people, but you got to be 75% of payroll.
All right. Here's a question from Robert. If I get the loan Saturday, is Saturday the start date of the 8-week clock?
I have no idea.
Right. Yeah, I don't know whether
so,
it's,
I don't know. To play it safe, say
yeah.
yes, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Hank submitted a question. Just an FYI, I just applied via PayPal. All that happened was initial information submitted, then said request sent, and we'll be in touch. And he didn't get beyond that.
Me, and it may take an hour or 3 hours or 5 hours. I don't know, especially since it just got funded this morning. So I know it's probably a lot faster than your bank, but I can't tell you how fast. It took them maybe a little bit of time to get back to me. And I would say right now, since our president just signed the document, probably a huge rush. So get in, but it's going to be probably more efficient than your bank.
But he should be hearing back from PayPal, Paul?
I assume so. I mean, I have, maybe unless things are radically changed, I would assume so. I'm sure there are a lot of people applying at this moment.
Yesterday, it said it would take up to 5 minutes to process.
Right.
That's what the PayPal said yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, I'm sure Marco said 5 minutes is cutting a lot longer here this morning, but
it's going to be faster than your bank. Yeah.
For that start date, I've got some interesting feedback from Kelly. For the date the 8-week starts, you should ask your loan officer. We were funded on April 22nd, but my loan officer said that the date on the note was 4/20. So it could be once the loan is approved. That's what I'm understanding. Or once the money's in the bank.
Right.
Right. So that's a very good question, and it could then be the date that you signed your loan documents versus the date that you're funded. Two things on that. One is I understand that the banks are required to fund within 7 days of the date that the loan docs are funded. And the second is, as Paul has pointed out before, these loans are being administered by your local banks, or in this case by PayPal, and they are the ones that are interpreting the rules and are tasked with administering the requirements.
Right. And my understanding is once the 8 weeks is up, the money's actually coming from the bank or PayPal. They've got the cash. The feds are giving the backup for the loan. So this is my thought, once you get through the 8 weeks, you're going to have to request for them to pay off the loan. And as long as you haven't committed fraud and you've met the requirements, they should pay off the loan just fine. But it doesn't happen automatically, I don't think.
Right.
One more question from Richard. I got an SBA application number from my bank, but I'm in a queue at the bank to be sent. Can I still apply at PayPal?
I don't know.
That's a tough question. If he's got it, if he's got an SBA number.
Does he have an SBA number or an application number? It's different.
It says I got an SBA application number from my bank, but I'm in a queue. So apparently what you were saying, Ed, that the loans are in the queue. Once the money is approved, that all these applications will be forwarded. So I think he's already in line.
Right. Yeah. Be my guess.
Now, to Ned's point, Ned saying that, you could get disqualified if you apply twice. with the amount of paperwork and the amount of people that are applying, I can't imagine that they have got any kind of a cross-reference, an effective cross-reference system to knock people out if they've applied twice. So
if you want to play it safe, I mean, applying twice is okay. You just can't. I would say the only thing, if you have got an SBA loan number, that's a different story. But not many people have gotten those. I didn't get one on mine. I just got I signed the application. The SBA loan number was blank on the loan docs.
Right. Okay.
That's all I got on my side.
Great.
Good.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and sign off here. I just want to give you a little preview. Next week on our webinar, we're going to talk about what does the next year look like. Life after the quarantine ends. We've been doing some research, and not just from a society standpoint, but obviously how it's going to impact the construction industry. And I have identified 3 major trends that I think we're going to see in the construction industry. And so we will cover that in our webinar next Friday. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Good afternoon.
So long, everyone. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Let's circle back and do it again.